Hello and welcome to Your Government in Action, a presentation of Bahamas Information Services. I'm Carissa Williamson. During his 2026-2027 budget contribution in the House of Assembly on June 17, 2026, Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Davis says the Bahamas has moved from economic recovery to sustained growth, pointing to gains in tourism, investments, and employment.
To lead this nation is the honor of a lifetime. A new term is a new opportunity to serve. As we enter a new era, one with the dangers as well as opportunities, let us face our challenges as one people. Madam Speaker, our first term was focused on rescue and recovery. Our economy has now climbed from crisis to recovery to growth. And the numbers tell the story powerfully. In a world disrupted by higher borrowing costs, conflict, and volatile energy prices, the Bahamas has not stood still. Our economy grew by an estimated 3.8% in 2025 on the heels of a 4.2% the year before. For 5 consecutive years, we have grown beyond the old ceiling the doubters swore we could never break.
That's right.
And the income earned by the average Bahamian has pulled ahead of our regional peers, like Barbados, Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, with the gap widening in our favor. Nowhere is the turnaround clearer than in tourism. In 2021, arrivals limped in at just 2 million visitors, a shadow of our former strength. And the Bahamians who depend on the industry were hurting. So we made our first priority plain: reopen our doors and restore the activity that puts food on Bahamian tables. And look what followed. Arrivals surged to $12.5 million by 12.5 million tourists by 2025, a gain of 11.4% in a single year. By March of this year, 2026, we have already welcomed 3.9 million visitors, up by 7.5%. And Grand Bahama, an island some had quietly written off, recorded extraordinary gains. And this strength does not rest on a single pillar. It showed up across the board. The strength was not just, as I said, on a single pillar of tourism. It showed up across the board. In construction, in financial services, in a sharp rebound in utilities, and in real estate activity, which went up nearly 20%. We held inflation to just 0.6%, while much of the world wrestled with rising prices. And we drove unemployment down from a staggering 7.4%, 17.4% in 2021 to approximately 9.3% by the middle of 2025. With more Bahamians returning to work every single year. The more diverse our growth, the more shock-proof our economy becomes. Confidence is returning. You can see it where the money is flowing. Foreign direct investment in moving across our archipelago, like in Inagua, Abaco, Eleuthera, Grand Bahama, Long Island, fueling tourism, infrastructure and construction, and creating jobs island by island. Our external reserves remain strong. Private credit is rising. and bad loans are falling. These are the signs not of an economy that merely looks better, but of one that is fundamentally stronger.
And now it's time to take a look up north with our northern service.
Minister for Grand Bahama, the Honorable Ygia Moxie, says Grand Bahama is still on the move, adding that the Davis administration's 2026-27 budget will introduce more projects and initiatives that will further advance the economy of the second city. Focusing on what she calls a historic mandate to build on progress, Minister for Grand Bahama, the Honorable Ygia Moxie, says the 2026-27 budget presented to Parliament by the Minister of Finance is a continuation of the work already started by the Davis administration and seeks to expand healthcare access, invest in young people, strengthen infrastructure, advance housing and community, and protect the gains made over the past 5 years. Minister Moxie's remarks came during her presentation to the 2026-2027 budget debate in Parliament on Monday, June 15, 2026.
Madam Speaker, the budget presented by the member for St. Barnabas is not simply a statement of revenue and expenditure. It is a continuation of the work. It expands healthcare access. It invests in young people. It strengthens infrastructure. It advances housing and community stability. It supports energy reform. It reduces electricity costs in Grand Bahama, and it protects the gains we have made together. That is what it means to build on progress. Madam Speaker, this contribution will not be built on props, theatrics, or political performances. It will be built on the work. It will be built on the results. It will be built on our record. When you have real projects moving, real people working, and real communities improving, you do not need fluff. You need facts. You need focus. You need follow-through. Less talk, more action. And less talk, more action was not just a campaign theme for me in 2021. It has always been how I serve. And last week, when the House Chaplain, Bishop Valentino Williams, opened in prayer as we began debate on the budget, the key word was action. Less talk, more action. And this morning, he followed with another word, excellence, reminding us that excellence is not an act, it is a habit. Deputy Speaker, nowhere is the rebound more visible than in Grand Bahama. For too long, Grand Bahama was spoken of in the language of decline, delay, and disappointment. But today, the numbers tell a different story. Grand Bahama welcomed more than 1 million visitors, representing a 91.2% increase. And Grand Bahama is the fastest growing destination in the Bahamas in air arrivals by 19.7%. That is a major rebound. That is confidence returning. That is cruise tourism expanding. That is businesses seeing movement again. That is vendors, taxi drivers, straw vendors, artisans, restaurants, entertainers, tour operators, and small businesses beginning to feel the difference. And we all know that Grand Bahama was hit by Hurricane Dorian, followed immediately by COVID-19. Businesses were disrupted, workers were displaced, families were under pressure, communities were still trying to recover, and confidence had to be rebuilt. So when we speak about the rebound of Grand Bahama, we must understand what Grand Bahama had to come through. That is why every job created matters. Every investor engaged matters. Every project matters. Every visitor welcome matters. And every opportunity opened matters. This is not theory for the people of Grand Bahama. This is real life. Madam Speaker, Deputy Speaker, when we came to office, Grand Bahama was still carrying the weight of Hurricane Dorian and COVID-19. Stalled projects, broken confidence, and communities that needed attention. The Ministry for Grand Bahama had to do heavy lifting. In East Grand Bahama, we were on the ground, working with agencies, partners, and communities to support recovery, restore government presence, respond to urgent needs, and bring attention back to communities that had felt forgotten.
Minister Moxie expounded on projects in Grand Bahama that are helping to move the island forward. Projects like Beautiful Grand Bahama, Collab Partnership, Celebration Key, MSC Cruise Port Development, and the Royal Caribbean Cruise Line project advancing at Xanadu.
Grand Bahama does not need empty talk. Grand Bahama needs facts. The fact is, Celebration Key, the $600 million Celebration Key is open, and we're moving on to phase 2. MSC Cruise Port development is moving. That's the $450 million MSC Cruise Port development. The $348 million Royal Caribbean Cruise Line development at Xanadu Beach is advancing. The Grand Bahama International Airport remains a priority for airlift, tourism, emergency access, and investment, and this is progressing. Grand Lucine remains important to the wider tourism redevelopment, hotel room inventory, and Freeport's economy, and this is moving. The Freeport Health Campus is under construction. Doctors Hospital is nearing completion. Another dry dock has arrived at the Grand Bahama Shipyard with more to come, strengthening our maritime position, skills, and industry activity. The Innovate 242 Business Incubator is under construction. Liverthorne has acquired South Riding Point and has reinvested. Progress can be seen in downtown Freeport. Island Impression, the Grand Bahama Cultural Experience at the Grand Bahama Arts and Crafts Center is moving toward launch. The Grand Bahama Icon sign is now a must-see stop, and work on the Fishing Hole Cultural Village will soon begin. Preliminary work is in progress for the reopening of the West Sunrise Highway. The International Bazaar and Royal Oasis acquisition is almost complete. Yes. The Afro-Caribbean Marketplace and Logistics Center is in the project preparation phase. UB North Phase 1 is complete, and Phase 2 is expected to be completed and fully functional for the fall 2026 semester. That's right. That's it.
So beautiful.
The Agritech cadets are halfway through their year-long program. The Young Innovators Club will begin in schools and youth organization engagement tour in September 2026. Some progress you can see. Some progress is the groundwork that makes construction possible. But whether visible or behind the scenes, Grand Bahama is moving. The work is not finished. The progress is real.
Also from the second city, Grand Bahamians celebrated the Sir Randall Fox Labor Day in style with an early morning parade followed by a Labor Day rally at the Independence Park. For years, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Immigration, the Honorable Fred Mitchell, has shared the Labor Day celebrations with workers in Grand Bahama. However, this year, joining Minister Mitchell, Minister Ygia Moxie, Minister for Grand Bahama and Grand Bahamians for this year's parade was Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Education, Science and Technology, the Honorable Chester Cooper, who said it was a pleasure to celebrate with Grand Bahamian workers.
But I remind you that this isn't just a day off or a holiday. It is a reminder of our founding principles of labor rights, of fairness, of dignity, and of partnership And it reminds us, as Brother Lorota pointed out, that we are a blessed people. We could participate in labor unions as a constitutional right. So we live in a beautiful country. Our government continues to stand with labor. We continue to stand with our young people, many of them we heard today. We continue to work hand in hand in solidarity with you. As we grow our country, as we grow our economy, we recognize the significance of labor and the significance of the labor movement. And this is why today we celebrate having signed more than 60 labor agreements. We celebrate having increased the minimum wage. We celebrate creating opportunities like Upskill Bahamas, like DigiLearn, and as having already gone through the consultation phase of new labor laws that we have discussed with many of you here and your representatives. I'm delighted you had the youth to speak today. And I want them to know that many of the things that they called for, like apprenticeship programs, like paternity leave, are already addressed in the upcoming labor bills. And I recognize Senator, thank you. I recognize Senator Keenan Johnson, who is now working with me in education, but who had opportunity to work in labor and has been a part of this process, and I thank him for his work. Of course, in Grand Bahama, we celebrate the growth of your economy. We celebrate new investments. We celebrate Celebration Key. We celebrate MSC and Royal Caribbean, bringing new projects to the island, creating new jobs for workers, new opportunities, new entrepreneurship engagement possibilities for our young people. We are not just about creating jobs, understanding that that is important. We are about creating entrepreneurial opportunities, and we preach the need for us to own our economy. And that is what we stand for, and that is what we seek to do. So today, we stand on the shoulders of our founders, on the shoulders of our labor movement leaders, like Sir Randall Fox, who has been engaged in a memory of the labor movement and our country. Mr. Fox has been a name that stands as an icon for all of the other fighters. We recognize him today. We ask that we give all of our founders and our leaders a round of applause.
For Your Government in Action, I'm Andrew Coakley.
More of Your Government in Action when we return. Welcome back. Minister of Energy, Utilities, and Aviation, the Honorable JoBeth Kobe Davis, outlined energy reform and infrastructure investments, highlighting fuel savings and advancement under the government's New Energy Era strategy during her 2026-2027 budget contribution in the House of Assembly on June 10, 2026.
In the energy sector, the ministry is responsible for relations with Bahamas Power and Light, relations with Grand Bahama Power Company, and the Project Execution Unit. The ministry has direct responsibility for the energy sector, energy systems, energy policy, oil and gas exploration, and oil and gas. Under utilities, the ministry is responsible for relations with Water and Sewage Corporation. In aviation, the ministry is responsible for the Department of Aviation, which includes civil aviation, air traffic licensing, NASA flight services, relations with the Airport Authority, Navigation Services Authority, Air Ports, relations with Nassau Airport Development Company, and relations with Freeport Development Company. Throughout the ministry, our agencies, there's a clear understanding of significance of our work ahead and the urgency to achieve our goals. And this national budget is integral to our success. Madam Speaker, in the 2026-2027 budget, the Ministry of Energy, Utilities and Aviation has recurring expenditure of $91.9 million. Of the figure, $200,000 has been earmarked for energy reform initiatives, $51.1 million for Water and Sewage Corporation development projects, $610,000 for the Department of Aviation, $7.8 million for the Airport Authority, $3.6 million for NASA Flight Services, $9 million for Civil Aviation, and $18 million for Bahamas Air Navigation Services Authority. Funding to support energy restoration and renewable energy have been allocated in the capital budget in the Ministry of Finance in the amount of $6 million. Madam Speaker, within the energy sector, our primary partners are BPL, Bahamas Grid Company, and GB Power. Other strategic partners include Shell New Providence Gas Company, Energy Bahamas Holdings Limited, EA Energy, CVB Utility Company, Madeline Solar, Eco Energy, Andrus Renewable Energy, Exuma Renewables Company, Renugen Pro Company, Family Island Microgrid Company, and the Project Execution Unit in the ministry. Together with the Ministry of Energy, Utilities and Aviation, these companies are executing the new energy era that is the most ambitious in our nation's history. Madam Speaker, I wish to update the House on key accomplishments and developments within the sector. In 2025, BPL executed a fuel price protection arrangement to safeguard our customers from market volatility and cause the price of fuel to be fixed. For clarity, BPL secured a fixed strike price of US $65 per barrel for 1 year. When international oil prices rise above that level, as they sharply have, our fuel cost remains constant. That's right. Not only are residential consumers protected from price spikes, but commercial consumers are able to effectively budget their energy costs and reliably predict annual energy expenditures. Madam Speaker, since the fuel arrangement, approximately, you'll see there, yes, our fuel hedge, our fuel price arrangement started working for us in the money in February 2026. Since the fuel arrangement, approximately $21.7 million in savings, Madam Speaker, have been realized. Wow. Madam Speaker, 4 months. This is money that has stayed in the pockets of Bahamian families and businesses rather than being absorbed by rising energy costs. Madam Speaker, the uneven cost of electricity was also one of the reasons why the Davis administration amended the Electricity Act and made it clear the electricity regulations, including pricing, must fall within the national statutory framework and under IRCA, the independent regulator. Summer readiness is not just a technical checklist for our electricity companies, but a covenant between a utility and the people it serves. As we advance through our summer readiness program, some service interruptions will occur. This is an expected part of the extensive infrastructure upgrades taking place across New Providence, all while we continue to operate and maintain the system that powers thousands of homes and businesses each day. Right now, certain outages are happening as we complete essential foundational work. In some areas, electrical loads that are normally shared between 2 circuits are temporarily being supported by just 1, while construction is ongoing. This added demand can strain sections of the network and heighten the likelihood of interruptions. In many ways, this effort resembles renovating a home while still living in it. Careful planning helps reduce inconvenience, but it cannot prevent every challenge that comes with rebuilding critical infrastructure while keeping service running. We know that some communities are experiencing more frequent outages due to their closeness to these construction and system improvement projects. We understand the frustrations this causes for residents, families, and businesses, and we do not take that impact lightly. Madam Speaker, our system operators, control center teams, and field crews are working continuously to safely manage a grid that is serving customers as it undergoes modernization. In fact, Madam Speaker, I was speaking to some of them up to 1:30 a.m. last night. Our team, every action we take is guided by a single goal, Madam Speaker, providing a stronger and more dependable electricity system for the people of the Bahamas.
That's right.
Our customers remain our top priority, and we are grateful for the public's patience and understanding as these vital upgrades move forward and remain committed to reducing disruptions while building a more resilient energy future for all Bahamians. By acquiring Grand Bahama Power Company, Freeport, for the first time, is being brought in line with the rest of the country on electricity oversight and pricing for Grand Bahamians. Over 17,000 households.
That's right.
And over 1,500 small and medium-sized businesses. Our Minister for Grand Bahama going to be very happy to hear. Electricity have been lowered. And this change will be reflected on electricity bills that will be issued on Thursday, the 11th of June, 2026. The new bills, Madam Speaker, will reflect the elimination of the base rate for under 200 kilowatt hour of electricity, fuel charge tiers, alignment to consumption tiers, and the elimination of the storm recovery charge.
I'm Carissa Williamson, and this has been Your Government in Action, a proud presentation of Bahamas Information Services. Join us on Wednesday evenings where we bring you highlights, coverage, and information as we continue to do what we do best, linking people and government.